In two magical African wilderness areas, the Masai Mara in Kenya and the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa, 5 expert safari guides follow a cast of compelling animal characters and the never-ending stories that define their lives. Previously on the Cat Report, the prides of the Mara worked tirelessly to claim a future for their bloodlines. Order in the ranks was an ongoing quest for Waffles, wily matriarch of the North Clan of Hyena. And Princess Tlalamba, daughter of Queen Tandi and her consort Tingana the Duke, enjoyed the security of a well-defended sanctuary. The little chief Hosana, brother to the Queen, remains at Djuma and does some hunting of his own. Now the advanced guard of the migration arrives on the banks of the Mara River. The migration season has begun.
Good morning and welcome to the Cat Report. As you can see, we're driving through massive herds of wildebeest and zebra. The Great Migration has finally arrived in the Masai Mara from the Serengeti, and a time of plenty for the predators of the Masai Mara is beginning. Now, you've always got to look carefully when you're on the edge of the migration. You never know what predator might be around. There could be hyenas, cheetah, leopard, and of course, the Sausage Tree Pride. My favorite pride of lions. We're deep inside Sausage Tree Pride territory. I'm gonna have a quick scan around at the trees, see if we can spot any feline figures popping their ears out of the grass. Now, you never know what can happen at this time of the year, because this huge amount of animals will actually bring predators out of their territories. So the Sausage Tree Pride could have some unwelcome company, but we're going to keep checking on the edge of the migration, hoping to find a big cat or 3. But before these wildebeest and zebra even get to this point in the Masai Mara, they've got to cross one of the most dangerous rivers in Africa. The endless emerald expanse of southwestern Kenya is the stage upon which an ancient drama unfolds, but this theatre is divided, carved in two by a winding fissure. Lifeline to some, fearful obstacle to those who would traverse from one shore to the other. But the impending dangers do nothing to deter those driven to attain what lies on the other side. And caution rapidly turns to blind urgency as obsession takes hold. The tides of wildebeest are joined by throngs of zebra. And none is exempt from fate once hoof touches water. Survivors quickly turn their backs on the source of their tragedy and tribulation, and stream triumphant upon the ultimate plains of promise. This bountiful arena hosts a full cast of performers. Among them, the inevitable antagonists. The dire crucible still lies ahead, a legion of predatory perils and scavenging inevitabilities. It is time of plenty for both carnivore and herbivore.
We have come across one of the most extraordinary scenes I have ever witnessed in all of my years out in the African wilderness. All those hours are spent with North Clan, and we truly get to witness why they are such formidable hunters. They have caught and cornered a young hippo in a deep puddle, and at the moment are busy exhausting it. The mother has run off back down to the river, but although it is a young hippo, it is still an incredibly strong animal. And it could still potentially injure these hyenas. That's why they're being so cautious. Slowly but surely, the clan is going to try and wear it down. Nothing happens quickly in a situation like this. You can see there's North Clan members wandering all over the show, paddling into the water, moving around. And although it is very distressing to witness, it does show us just how capable of hunting these animals are. Their reputation as thieves, very ill-deserved. For now, the young hippo is holding its own, but this is going to be an incredibly long standoff. The hyena's stamina pitted against the hippo's strength. How this will play out, we still don't know. So now we sit and now we wait as the sun rises, playing out on one of the most extraordinary dramas that the Mara bears witness to.
We are with Hosana here, and he's just walking through the thickets. But what's very interesting is that there is this stench of leopard in this area. There is just the smell of that popcorny urine that they have, and I wonder if maybe Tingana hasn't been marking all over this area over the course of the last few days. You can see he's sniffing the air. I think he's picking up the same scent that we're smelling, because this is where the area where it's really pungent, and he needs to be careful. He needs to pay attention to all of these kind of scents that we're getting, because every time he smells a different leopard, he needs to work out who it is. You can see he's just going to walk right past us, which is absolutely amazing. And he needs to know if that's a threat to him, because if it's a different male to Tingana, he's going to have to be very, very careful. And luckily for him, he's been somehow able to charm his dad to allow him to stay in this area, which has been absolutely critical for his survival.
Human beings find the bond between father and son endearing, and so we look for examples of it in the wild. So when Hosana the social prince and Tingana his father sought each other out, we were both astonished and delighted. The old duke was probably checking for intruders, but quickly relaxed when he saw who the other leopard in his dukedom was. Hosana was typically brash in his approach, and while the old duke wasn't entirely delighted with the interaction, it was a heartwarming meeting for two of our favorite leopard characters.
He's been up and moving, and he's just found himself coming towards a pan where he's now going to rest. And this has been his strategy over the past few weeks, is that he comes to this area and he'll lie down and he sits in wait. And he knows that because we're very close to a waterhole and we're in our winter months where it's dry and it's difficult to find food, this is the perfect place in order to wait for that sun to start coming up and then for the animals to start coming in.
There is never a shortage of hunting opportunities near water. And under the cover of darkness, the little prince, Hosana's supreme night vision, gives him the edge. But this wily cat is not the only night stalker to have cottoned on to this game plan. Competition is rife, and sportsmanship is somewhat wanting. once he shakes the pesky hyenas, it's time to really get down to business. He sneaks right up close to his quarry, a scrub hare. Loads his back legs ready to pounce. Watches, waiting to see which way the hare will move. He now has a choice of not one, but two victims. He launches explosively, but he misses. Incredible to see him in action like that, no matter the outcome. The hyenas don't leave him alone for a moment. Osana goes flat, lowering his head in an aggressive stance, baring his teeth to keep the pest at bay. When a second hyena arrives, he decides to just get out of their way completely. And the waiting game commences. Eventually the hyenas will move off and leave him to himself and his hunting.
Lions and hyenas are mortal enemies, and it's well known how they have a dislike for one another. But out here in the Sabi Sands, we often find hyenas harassing the leopards. They'll follow them around and steal and pilfer carcasses on a regular basis. They can be really opportunistic in this environment. And Jamie up in East Africa has also been finding out just how opportunistic the East African hyenas can be.
This poor hippo. I think they're going to keep it trapped in here until it eventually succumbs to exhaustion. For now, it's too big and simply has too much fight. And even though it is a young hippo, it could still do tremendous damage to these hyenas. But that is the way that hyenas hunt. They have the most phenomenal stamina out of all of the big predators out here. All we can tell you is that we're going to be here every step of the way.
Well, it is the lions I've been searching for days upon days upon days. Finally, we have managed to find the Sausage Tree Pride. All that experience definitely proves value for Kinky Tail because she's done it again. She's caught another wildebeest. The rest of the pride are here. All 5 members. This is the first time in over a month I've seen all 5 members together. It is very, very exciting. Now, they've got multiple kills around here. We're just going to focus on Kinky. Oh, look at that. She's playing with her food. It is truly a time of plenty for the Sausage Tree Pride, and these poor wildebeest have to run this gauntlet on a daily basis when they're visiting the Masai Mara. Now all the lions are very full, and we can see here comes Limpy Lou. Shame she's been injured for quite a while, and she's coming to greet the rest of the pride. Hello, Limpy. So we could get a nice little touching moment here. Where are the boys? Where are Kipuli and the young boys?
We're racing to catch up with the baby hippo to find out whether or not it escapes. There it is, there it is. The hyenas have baited again. Hold on. Oh, up. There they are up ahead of us. It's running. Okay, let's keep going. There you go, you can see the hyenas grabbing onto the tail. It's found its way into another puddle. You can see the tails bristling of the hyenas. This could go on for a long, long time. I think it's going to do it. Look at this. Hyena and hippo walking side by side. Terror etched on the expression of little hippo. Oh, for a second I thought we were going to have to move too. It's exhausted, it's frightened, it's alone. And the strength of this hippo, it keeps pushing forward through the water. The river's probably about 300 meters or so away. So about 300 or so yards. Is it going to manage it? Ah! Have you come to the party, Waffles? Here she is. She's just walked across in front of us. Round-bellied and unenthused by this whole process. What's utterly tragic is the fact that its mother's not here to protect it anymore. She's given up, she's run away, she hasn't made it back. These hyenas splashing about in the water. This little one's still got a lot of fight. And what's fascinating about this is it's actually the young hyenas that are really truly launching this attack. It's getting closer to the river. The hyenas are trying to stop that from happening. I think it's going to make it. I really do. I think this young hippo is going to make it. It's somehow got to make its way between these islands, across that stretch, and then into the Mara River itself, where it could potentially reunite with its mother. Let's hold on and wait and see.
Well, our search for Kipuli and a young sausage tree male is successful. Since the first place we heard them roaring, we're probably about 6 kilometers from there, so they can walk incredibly far. Hello, boys. Now you can see the size difference between an adult male and a male just under 3 years old. Kipuli's probably around 7.5 now. But it looks like both the young sausage boys and Kipuli are about to reunite. Those could be absolutely wonderful. I love seeing when lions haven't seen each other for a while. They can be so affectionate, particularly the boys. We are witnessing at the moment the coalition forming between an old male and 2 young males from a pride he took over. Normally he would have tried to kill or chase them off, but being a lone male, Kipuli actually sort of almost courted these 2 little boys, and he has now formed a coalition. These 3 boys have been spending less and less time with the rest of the sausage tree pride. Oh, they are beautiful creatures. Here comes the big boy himself, Kipuli. Now, Kipuli's name means nose ring in Swahili, because he's got a very distinct split in his nose, and looks like someone might have pulled his nose ring out. Of course, he never really had a nose ring. So there we go. Oh, wonderful. Isn't that magic? Absolutely wonderful. Oh, just flop on top of each other. Oh, boom.
The hungry hyenas are unsuccessful. They were round and slow from a meal the night before, and believe it or not, the extraordinary standoff with the young hippo has come to a conclusion, and you would be surprised at the way that it played out. With its survival hanging in the balance, the hippo finally made a break to run the literal gauntlet over rocky ground, shallow pools, and deep mud to the safety of the river. As fast as it ran, the hyena were faster, but there was little they could do to slow the momentum of the hippo's bulk. The hippo dodged and weaved past the snapping jaws of the hyena, pushing past every obstacle in its way, before plunging into the safety of deeper water. The residual terror and relief were clear as the little hippo went in search of its mother's comfort. After all that hard work, I think you'll all agree that North Clan deserves a good rest. I think they're going to find themselves a muddy spot, go and wallow somewhere. And thus ends one of the most extraordinary things I have ever seen in the time that I have spent with hyenas. I know I keep using the word extraordinary, but it really was. There goes the barrel Waffles, who was so busy chasing other hyena around, she didn't really do all that much. Off she goes back towards the den, and the end of a situation with what I suppose could only be described as a happy ending. A little hippo that could.
Hello, my darling. I think that's Shadulu. Fantastic stuff. Yes, it is. That's our Western Duchess. How very nice to see her again. Shadulu was born in September 2014, quite a long way south of here. Now, her name means termite mound, apparently because she likes to sit on these castles of clay. I think that's a little bit like calling a human being sofa or chair, but maybe that's just me.
Shadulu, 4-year-old Duchess of the West, has cemented her ownership of Western Djuma through leaving her popcorn-scented markings on landmarks as she goes. She's an easily recognizable leopard. Her nose always looks like it's been in a bowl of melting chocolate ice cream. She's one of the most active leopards we've ever seen. She doesn't seem to be content to sit and lounge about like many others of her species. Instead, she's constantly on the move, climbing trees and onto fallen limbs as she surveys her domain for prey and potential competitors. What causes her hyperactivity, we don't know, but her busyness is a constant source of great delight. We suspect she may be pregnant with the offspring of the dashing bad boy Hukumuri. She will need to assert her property rights if she is to successfully raise her first litter.
Now, there's been great interest in whether or not Shadulu is pregnant. At the outset, it's really difficult to see if a cat is pregnant unless she's about to pop. And that's because they have a very short gestation period and the cubs are born very small. One of the reasons for the short gestation is the fact that large fetuses would make it impossible for a leopard like Shadulu to hunt effectively. The other interesting thing here, if you look carefully, is that it seems that she has wounds on her neck. Those could easily have come from the love bites inflicted by a male during mating, so my guess is that her previous courtship with the dashing Hukumuri did not result in conception. This would have brought her into estrus again pretty soon, and I suspect she's probably just completed another lengthy mating sojourn with the young Hukumuri. Up you go, my dear. That's beautiful. Now you can imagine how difficult that sort of climbing would be with a belly full of cubs. Think of a heavily pregnant human being trying to do the same thing. Or think of the potential damage that could be done to unborn little ones or maintaining the integrity of the uterus during the rough and tumble of a hunt. Little Hosana has given Tristan the slip, but fear not, he seems to have come across regal Tundi and precious Princess Tlalamba.
Well, it just can't get any crazier. So we've got little Tlalamba in the road, and look how she's looking around. Her tail is twitching, and that's because they are looking at an impala in the bush. Tundi's off to our left-hand side in the thicket, surrounded by elephants. So we have just absolute chaos happening again on this side. It really is unbelievable. And there comes Tundi now. So you'll see she's going to join on the road. There we go. So she was just trying to avoid the elephants as much as possible. And she's now cut through. I don't think they're going to be able to stalk this impala, unfortunately. There's just too much going on. You can also see with the tips of the tails, look at how they're lifting them up quite high and just twitching them as they go. So she's just checking what's going on. This is so amazing. I think I'm in heaven with leopards. It's incredible to have not one, but two. Hosana is not that far away, and this is probably the biggest gauntlet that Tundi is facing at the moment, is that she's got to be able to deal with this oncoming threat of Hosana being around here. He's a young male and could potentially very easily influence what goes on and could go after little Tlalamba, and we could get a situation where Tlalamba is in quite a lot of danger. So it's going to be interesting to see how she responds to it. We've seen her with Hosana and bringing Tlalamba close to Hosana, but you never know with a young male leopard. He could just latch out and kind of go after her at any point. Now I'm going to try to catch up with them. They're going off into a very, very difficult area. This place is not easy to negotiate at all.
Djuma has a queen. Her name is Tundi. The newly ascended and beloved queen is a 12-year-old of exceptional skill as a huntress and as a mother to the 5 litters she's raised. The latest is precious Princess Tlalamba. Protecting her mischievous daughter is difficult because naughty leopards face myriad threats. Like Shidulu, Duchess of the West. She has occupied the territory previously belonging to the Queen's sister. For now, Shidulu remains childless, but this soon may change. She has consorted with a handsome new male, Hukumuri. The Duchess's heirs could make life difficult for Princess Tlalamba and the royal bloodline.
Yes, here we are with Shidulu's hanging decorative art piece of impala skin. Her territory is a long way north of where she was born. Now that's unusual because female leopards normally set up territories adjacent to their mothers. Now whether or not the territories around her mothers were full, no one really knows, but she came up north and found a vacated territory. The empty area she found used to belong to Shadow, and Shadow was Tundi's sister and one of our very favourite characters. She disappeared a while back. We've got no idea what happened to her. We're pretty sure that Shidulu didn't have anything to do with Shadow's disappearance, but whatever the case, she's taken advantage of the luck afforded by Shadow's demise and set herself up as Duchess of the West. It's been another exhilarating time in the wild here with rival lions in the waving grasslands and hunting leopards, not always successful, here in the woodlands. The ruthless North Clan of Hyena were probably a little ambitious, but fear not. With the thundering herds coming into the Mara, there's shortly going to be plenty on offer for them. So join us next time for more excitement, humour and drama in the next edition of the Cat Report.